Welcome to a discussion this morning of the proposal that the McIlvaine Company is making to Yokogawa, and it's called our KOC sales program, but it is the culmination of the free work that we've been doing to date and a way to proceed from here. So the building blocks that we are offering and the McIlvaine capabilities, prices, and so forth are contained in a quotation. We're not going to get into a lot of those things. We're just going to hit the highlights here for you. And let's start with the overview that this is a program to boost Yokogawa sales without adding employees. And it will be custom designed and tailored to meet the different sales intelligence needs and even the engineering needs of some of the Yokogawa stakeholders. And we are providing the market forecasts and sales targets, even down to how much of revenues can be generated by a particular OEM or AE, as well as by specific large users. And we have a whole program which is called the 4 A's: alerts, answers, analysis, and advancement. And we would be providing those sorts of things as part of the program. One of the features is prioritized sales leads for individual salespeople, and we are tracking all these sales leads in many of these different industries, and we can keyword them so they go right to the person in the territory. But another big feature would be the information for senior management. We are looking at all these process markets and assessing the growth. I mean, a lot of our clients are the major companies that deal with Yokogawa, and we're actually helping some of them with their long-term planning. So we do have a great deal, I think, of information that will be helpful to senior management as well. And last but not least, to support Yokogawa in the development of your own CRM systems. And so anything that we're doing can be converted to Yokogawa through electronic means here. So what is the KOC strategy? It's essentially a strategy that combines knowledge, organization, and collaboration. In the short term, we would want to focus on the low-hanging fruit, so to speak, and the U.S. power industry is targeted as one of those. But at the same time, certainly everything that's going on in oil and gas, in fact, we have very detailed sales leads there. But even in things like refining and water, wastewater, we track every water, wastewater project. We track every semiconductor clean room and so forth. So there's a lot of areas that we can be providing a good intelligence. And what are the components of the KOC strategy? So it is knowledge, organization, and collaboration. And what would we provide in terms of the knowledge? And in the knowledge area here, we are going to be providing market forecasts, detailed right down to the rep territories, product evaluations, trends and regulatory developments, and the processes that potentially will use Yokogawa products. We have process flow diagrams and all sorts of ways to do that communicate those things. And OEM opportunities right down to yearly potential for individual OEMs, competition evaluations. And we already have this customized website with all the market reports and databases displayed. The organization is a key part of it. In other words, how this information gets communicated and how it's used, and providing specific quotas by geography, industry, and specific company is one way. Readjusting these targets continually is desirable. Working directly with regional managers and representatives to provide specific sales leads and individual revenue targets is another aspect of it. An important aspect is creating collaboration among reps, product leaders, and others. And we have found that in dealing with some of your Yokogawa reps that there are a lot of really very knowledgeable reps about particular industries, and that industry and process knowledge can be tapped. Continuous evaluation of results, reports to management, and knowledge generation from the custom website. Sales promotion is another key part of the organization. So basically getting the people to be calling your salesman as opposed to having your salesman and distributors having to find them. And that's the big difference I think that our system offers, is we have for the sales requests coming in, the opportunities coming in to you rather than just going the other way around. Why collaboration, and why McIlvaine for collaboration? That the collaborative strategy rather than hierarchical strategy has been shown to be more effective when dealing with salespeople. And there are several reasons that McIlvaine Company can lend some value here. First of all, this will be over and above your regular hierarchical approach, and you don't have to use any additional of your people. And most of the new business will be coming in areas new to Yokogawa in terms of customers or applications. So McIlvaine does have some insights there. But the bottom line is that a third party provides an opportunity for collaboration that the hierarchical system has difficulty doing. So the building blocks for future CRM management include things like our decisive classification. So we're actually classifying products, processes, and applications, and there's literally $1 million or more that's been put into this. And Yokogawa will have immediate access to all that. And we can show you a few of the examples there in a minute or two. But the roles for the various stakeholders within Yokogawa certainly include the reps as well as the various other people within the organization. So the rep organization has some very unique knowledge and value. We've interviewed a number of the reps, and the rep in Philadelphia is very knowledgeable about district heating. Indiana rep about oil and gas with BP and so forth. And these people have this process knowledge which can be communicated to other reps as well. So providing case histories and doing all sorts of things with the reps in their particular area will be quite helpful. But for them, they would get sales leads delivered and organized by territory, revenue targets, continuing communication with McIlvaine, collaborative webinars. I know you're doing, Yokogawa is doing a number of webinars now with the reps, but these collaborative webinars would be very specific to big projects, for instance. So if you've got a big energy company like Chesapeake, you'd want the people calling in Tulsa plus the people calling in Pennsylvania and Ohio all in a webinar to discuss how you're going to approach some of the things that they're doing, and of course bringing the regional managers into it as well. And the product leaders should be encouraged to explore the new applications for their products. And one example, for instance, would be in the TDL, the fact that the HCl applications may be 4 times the size of the ammonia slip applications. So these are the kind of things that would be, McIlvaine would want to work with the product leaders and to be informed of some of these opportunities and inform the leaders of some of these opportunities, share information, and expand the products and applications for Yokogawa. McIlvaine has a number of engineers on its staff. We do take an engineering approach to a lot of things, and even our decisive classification is really engineering oriented, how you make decisions based on the technical knowledge that's available. McIlvaine would be, and already is, a very substantial promotional campaign has been undertaken, and articles in magazines, weekly alerts to end users and potential purchasers of the Yokogawa products. So that's already underway, and it would be expanding and continuing what we've just been doing for free. And again, providing summaries for general management and alerts as to where major changes might be taking place in the marketplace. And this would go for general management, of course, in general sales management, a little bit different perspective. But the system could use a Yokogawa trainee, or we could do it all with McIlvaine personnel. But we believe that you put a bright young person that would work with McIlvaine on some of these things, and it's a tremendous educational opportunity for him, and he could start, with no preconditions on the knowledge he has to have. And 6 months in the program, he's going to know a lot about the company and all the opportunities that the company has, and you could rotate these people every 6 months or so. And this would keep the cost down rather than having everything done by the McIlvaine people. And we, I think, already identified the capabilities of the McIlvaine company through 20 weeks of working with you. And the types of things that, just as an example here, you have the Fuel Tech, for instance, and you can click in our OEM networking directory on any zip code. So we just clicked on 60555 in Illinois, and Fuel Tech is one of those companies. So for the salesman calling on this particular zip code, it's possible to have a yearly potential, whether there's just a rough sales target. But we know from our dealings with Fuel Tech that they're an opportunity for several $100,000 worth of systems, and certainly some substantial numbers of field instruments and test instruments and things as well. And this is just an example. We are tracking all the projects, and so all the gas turbine projects, and we have information we're sending out weekly there, and it's got people's names and contacts and information about the projects that allows you to pursue the project much more effectively. Back on the technical side of things, this is actually an article that we put in a magazine where Yokogawa was prominently mentioned, but we do analyze all the different ways that you can measure NH3. So this does show the marriage of the technical and the sales aspects. The corporate identification program is very important one. We've got many, many thousands of companies around the world, and we've actually identified them with one corporate entity number, and also in many cases have their names in both Chinese and English. So this eliminates a lot of confusion. So you identify the company by the number and not any of the aliases you'd have in all these different languages. And another important thing is just in application sequencing. Every application is set up in two primary categories: the NAICS code, and then an additional code, which is a very practical code because you're working in shale gas or subsea or some of these other areas. I think this gives you a pretty good view of what we had in the proposal here. What I'd like to do is just show you a couple highlights from the website itself. So we will go to the website, and we actually have this custom website for Yokogawa. So you click on that custom website, and there's a number of things there. One thing, for a little while, we were showing you everything we were doing promotionally, writing the articles in the newsletters and all these different things, and we we did that for a few months, but there's so much. We're writing about Yokogawa every week that we stopped filling this out after about the middle of February. But there's a number. Here's a complete water, gas, fluid treatment. It's very comprehensive of all the instrumentation as well as treatment equipment in all these different industries, such as pumps. But then we have a separate report on the pumps world markets with market shares for a number of the for about 400 companies that you would want to be collaborating with. We did an information technology for electricity generation that gets into everything from enterprise management down to field instruments, and was very well received by the utility industry, but that was some years ago. We have a current industrial valve report, renewable energy, site remediation. Of course, there's a lot of Yokogawa equipment used in remediating soil and wastewater. And let's just click on one of these reports, because there's a lot of different reports that would be relative to your OEM opportunities. But this one also gets into what is the market for Yokogawa in, we call it air and water instrumentation, but it's much broader than that. It gets into the $22 billion market, broken up by industry and by regions, and analyzing, how the companies are doing in that marketplace. And then we even look at the bigger market. We look at the $135 billion market that does include process optimization and these other uses for Yokogawa instruments. And we look at it a number of different ways, and we even do deeper dives into, say, the $15 billion oil, gas refining, and petrochemical instrumentation revenues. And let's just go on to one of the newsletters. Here's the April newsletter here, and you can see that it's a comprehensive monthly newsletter that gets into a lot of your competitors as well as yourself. And we show that Yokogawa is ranked number 5 in air water monitoring with $450 million in revenues in that area, as opposed to Emerson with 1,200. And we have various other articles about Yokogawa in here. Your sales are up, winds control systems, and so forth. So that gives you, I think, an idea of what's in that particular report. And yeah, we'll just get back out of that one as well. And just going down some of these other reports, we have liquid filtration and sedimentation, which should do a lot of the oil field equipment and systems and processes. Use centrifuges and clarifiers and all these sorts of things. I use the ROUFMF, and so the market reports alert you to who the OEM prospects that you should be pursuing and how big they are. The databases, where is every power plant, NH3 measurement opportunity in the world, and we do that with our tracking system. And we track every water, wastewater plant, municipal drinking water, all the oil and gas projects around the world, and a number of other areas, biofuels. We get a whole system just on Chinese utility plans. And then world clean room projects, we get into semiconductor and pharmaceutical and all the other areas where ultra-pure water and ultra-pure air are used. And last but not least, we have the OEM networking directory with 50,000 people at OEM potential prospects around the world, and we have end users, and we have a special end user just for a directory just for utility people. So the last thing I'd like to do is just show you the alerts to remind you that you have been receiving alerts every week, and this is the one that just went out last week. And we've been covering your activities at the shows and sending this information out not only in the Yokogawa alert, but the same information went out in our utility e-alert, which goes to the utilities themselves. So this is the alert from the number 7 20. Let's just go to 17, for instance. And so we get into why TDL is the instrument of choice for cement HCl, which is a very important question for you people right now. And we then tracked all these conferences, and this is a very good way, I think, for Yokogawa to be proceeding. Make sure the reps are at these conferences, interface with them, get intelligence back from each of these conferences, and then utilize the exhibitors and the people giving the papers to make sure that they are informed about Yokogawa equipment that's going to be helpful to them. And the number of these is just staggering. I mean, this was 36 conferences in just 3 months. And of course, a lot of you were at the big OTC conference, but that was just one of many here. LNG conference. Bob McElvain will be down. I'll be down at the Valve World. I'm giving 4 speeches in Houston, and hope to see a lot of you there. So this is just a brief overview of what we're proposing to Yokogawa, and we certainly welcome any questions. And this is Bob McElvain signing off.